Watching this one, you gotta see this. Hi everyone, I'm Carlo Medina with you here on Digital 4.2, streaming over on NBCLA.com. This is, of course, news while a little less than 24 hours away from the deadline to get your census forms in. And George Takei and his partner, Brad Altman, have put together a pretty hilarious PSA to make sure that same-sex couples are counted. Take a look.
I'm George Takei, and I'm still wearing my Starfleet uniform.
I'm Brad Altman, and this is a foil cap on my head.
And we're married. My husband can be so silly at times.
This is the first time in history the census is counting marriages like ours.
It doesn't matter whether you have a legal marriage license or not. It only matters if you consider yourself married. That's what the census is asking for people to identify how they view themselves.
So fill out the census and let's show America how many of us are joined in beautiful, loving marriages.
George and Brad were able to talk to us via satellite from New York a short time ago. Here's our conversation.
This is the first time in history the census has counted people who are in same-sex marriages or same-sex relationships, and that's a historic, it's a great step in the right direction for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community to have the federal government actually count LGBT people in this fashion.
I think you really hit the nail on the head here. It is the very first time this has been counted, and I was talking to a lot of same-sex couples here in Los Angeles, and a lot of them didn't even know that they had that option this year. Your PSA really alerted them to that. Do you think you did a good job?
The census, by its very nature, is once a decade, so the learning curve is fast and furious. In fact, I don't know when this interview will be aired, but the deadline April 1st is coming up so quickly that a lot of people still haven't answered the 10 questions and put the census survey form in the mail. So we're just trying to alert everybody that now is a historic opportunity for the gay and lesbian community to, at least in a significant way, have their voices heard by the federal government, and it will have a lot of ramifications with statistical gathering, and it will ultimately be important for the community, for as many people to fill out the census as possible.
Well, it's an opportunity for GLBT people to identify as how they perceive themselves, and if they are in a relationship, then they can define that relationship, not necessarily legally, but if they consider themselves married, that's the way they identify themselves. So it's getting a bit more finer grained in measuring the diversity of America, but those that are not partnered still don't have an opportunity to define who they are in terms of their sexual orientation.
And George, can you talk to us a little bit about the importance of really, for the first time, counting same-sex couples effectively in a census?
It's very important because it results in funding directed to the LGBT community and appropriate to the many kinds of relationships that exist. It also is important in terms of the legislative moves that are being made. They can now say this many people consider themselves married, same-sex people consider themselves married. However, there are this many people who are partnered and do not consider themselves married, but may eventually do. And I think that it is going to have an impact on how legislators view the community that they represent.
And lastly, guys, let's talk a little bit more about the PSA, because by far it's funny. That's, I think, the main goal. It's also informative. It really allows those same-sex couples to know this is how they can fill out their forms. Who came up with the idea, and do you believe it effectively does the job?
Well, we do capture the attention. They wanted me to be in costume, so Brad suggested my Starfleet uniform, and he didn't want to be upstaged by me in this eye-catching uniform, so what he did, he's turned into a diva, a tinfoil diva. He got tinfoil and made that silly hat, and so I had to react to it, and he stole the whole PSA message. I hope the message itself communicates, aside from being entertaining and having a new prima donna that I have to deal with.
I thought you just called me a nut, but I guess not.
No, the information is a nut.
Okay. You know, you're in the media business. It's hard to keep people's attention nowadays, so we went a little bit over the top just to communicate the reality that people need to fill out the census and put it in the mail as soon as possible.
All right, well, Brad Altman, the tinfoil diva, and George Takei, Mr. Sulu, thanks so much for helping us out. We certainly do appreciate it. We hope the PSA gets a lot of play as well.
Now he's going to do his live long and prosper sign.
Live long and prosper.
Thanks, guys. Funny stuff. All right, well, make sure to fill out that census form. Again, it is due April 1st. I'm Medina. This is News Raw, news as it happens.